Welcome back again to Manufacturing Talk Radio. We are in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the WiM Summit, which is Women in Manufacturing. And we've been here for 2 days, and we're talking to a lot of great, interesting people about manufacturing, about women in manufacturing, and the trials and tribulations that these folks are having. With me, I have Dianan from Shark USA. Is that a second name, Shark Welding?
Yes, it is.
Shark Welding and Shark USA. Welcome, Diana. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Tell us a little bit about the company and your background, and then we'll get into some of the topics that we've been discussing here today.
Shark is an abrasive manufacturer that is mainly focused on the automotive aftermarket. We've been in business for 33 years, and we manufacture cutoff wheels and some welding supplies, and what we don't manufacture we import from China and other parts of the world as well.
It's unusual to have a woman in such a rough and gruff product line. How did you get your start in that?
I actually went to work for a family company, learned the aftermarket from the ground up, and abrasives were a product that were complementary to what the family did, and my father didn't want to do them, so I said, how about if I do them under your roof? And I started the company under his roof, and I continued to be a sales manager. And about 7 years after that, I left my father and I went full-time on my own.
Oh. So, is your father talking to you anymore?
Yeah, he doesn't speak to me from the dead, but he was speaking to me, yes.
Okay.
We absolutely, for many years, we had a good relationship
Great.
afterwards.
Great. So here we are at Women in Manufacturing, and you've been a member for
3 years.
3 years, so that's about as long as they've been in existence. What do you feel that you and your company are getting out of the membership in WiM?
This is a great venue for women who feel alone and really don't, especially for an entrepreneur like myself. You can come here, you can meet other women, you can talk about the same problems that they have, whether it's regarding your employees or finances or anything in your business. And I've met some really wonderful friends here, and we've established relationships over the years. The conference itself has tremendous speakers. This year, because we are in Minnesota, I brought 4 people from my company, and it's really important for them to understand manufacturing past my business and what they do there for me, and to understand how the growth in the marketplace is happening, especially with women in the industry.
Are you know, we've heard a lot of conversation here today and for the last 2 years about the diminishing workforce, the skill set, the skill gaps, and are you experiencing the same issues in Rockford, Minnesota?
Absolutely.
And what are you doing about it?
I think we're going to start trying to work with the local government to maybe start some programs so that there can be some on-the-job training. We have to train anybody that we bring in. You don't have to be incredibly skilled to do, to work in our abrasive manufacturing facility or any of our packaging, because we also package almost everything we sell or that we make and that we don't make. So I would like to get involved more with that. I'd like to get involved more with community colleges here.
I'll just pass on something, and I've already said this a couple of times today during our shows. A company up in New Hampshire by the name of Hypertherm, who has had the same problems that everyone else has had, and they started a training program for themselves, and then they reached out to other manufacturing companies who are having and experiencing the same problems they were. So they created a mutual training program on manufacturing per se.
Awesome.
And they all contributed to the cost of the training and so on, and here they had, in this little town in New Hampshire, this training pool where employees can be drawn from one sector and go into another sector, and the training going into another sector is not as great. If you want to listen to one of our shows on hypertherm, the gentleman who's there, I'm sure will be most helpful in talking with you if you'd like to do that.
Great, I'll have to tune in.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great idea. Great idea. They also have a very limited employment pool there. So you have in your company, you have people who are going to be retiring soon, or they have been retiring. 33 years is a long time.
Not many. We moved the company from downtown Chicago in 2001. So we had to, I think 5 employees moved with us.
Right.
So basically, most of our employees are young at this point.
Oh, so you're
I'd say
fortunate.
myself, and I have a person who's a partner, and we're both probably the oldest people, or close to the oldest in the company. There may be one more that's older, so
So you
retirement's
guys,
not
you
an
guys got
issue.
a long
Right,
way to
we
go.
do,
Long way to
absolutely.
go. I was talked about retirement, and I decided to start a radio show.
That's what happens. You better not talk about it too often.
Yeah, my wife says, "Are you going to retire?" I said, "Nah, I don't think so."
I think it's overrated.
It probably is. So, what do you see for the future in regards to WiM and women in manufacturing and the shortage of labor and so on? I mean, there's a lot of things going on. The government is getting involved. The government is doing some sponsoring. I think, me personally, I think the greatest return is going to come from individuals, not the government.
Absolutely.
Because you have the greatest to lose or gain. So what do you see for the future of shark welding in terms of expansion?
We are looking at some acquisitions right now. So we definitely want to grow. We've been on a growth path for the last 3-4 years. A pretty decent one, and I'm already looking at 3 or 4 different businesses, so hopefully we'll have an acquisition in the next 12 months.
So you do a fair amount of export as well.
Yes, we do.
And
Yes.
where are you exporting?
The majority of it is Canada, but we also do a fair amount to Australia and a little bit to New Zealand, a little bit to Korea, South Korea.
So you're helping the economy on a lot of different fronts.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so.
The dollar exchange rates and so on, which is also another problem.
Whole nother topic,
Yeah.
yes.
Have you looked into XM Bank as a support vehicle for you to be able to do certain overseas business?
No, I have not. I can honestly say
Well-
I think I've seen some offerings or an opportunity, but I haven't, I travel a lot with my business as it is, so I just, the opportunities didn't fit my time schedule.
Well, if XM Bank ever gets their authorization back from Congress, it may be back on stream, and they're a very valuable agency within the government, and maybe one of the more important ones. And we know a lot of people there, and we know a lot of things that they've done to help this country. Unfortunately, Washington doesn't always see it the way it really is. That said, I appreciate you sitting in with us and talking a little bit about your manufacturing trials
Thank you.
and tribulations. And I just want to thank you for sitting in on that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
And folks, we'll be back later with other interviews. Thank you.
Thank you.